and the Masters of the Universe. I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull!" Cringer became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Orko. Together we defend Castle Grayskull from the evil forces of Skeletor.
Hello, this is OptimusSolo, and welcome to the 28th chapter in Tales of Eternia. With me for this journey into the Masters of the Universe franchise, as always, is TFG1Mike. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Are you ready to not talk about Mask?
Oh my god. Okay, so Tim and I talked about this on one of the more recent episodes that we recorded. We're comparing Mask and He-Man. And the 1983 Filmation He-Man cartoon, while it does have its moments of, oh my god, makes me want to beat my head against my desk, it doesn't hold a candle to how bad Mask is.
Without having seen the last 10 episodes that you guys have done or whatever, I believe you. So in this episode of Tales of Eternia, we will be giving you our thoughts on episode 81, Disappearing Dragons, episode 82, Island of Fear, and episode 83, Revenge is Never Sweet. So we hope you're ready, because it's time to go back to Eternia.
Pie for everybody.
Let's see now. I moved my wizard. Well, what would you do? Are you sure? There!
Sorry, Orko. My warrior takes your wizard. I win.
Some great move. It's the last time I listen to you.
It's not my fault you lost. You should learn to make your own decision. Zoar.
The sorceress must be sending a telepathic message to Adam.
That can only mean trouble.
Granamir wishes to see He-Man. He needs his help right away.
Granamir? What Granamir? That old dragon gives me the shakes. I'll leave for dark smoke right away.
Is that dark smoke?
It sure is. Hang on.
Wow, look at all this stuff. I wonder what's in here.
Orko, don't fool around with... Orko!
What was that?
I warned you about playing around with Granamir's treasures. You're just lucky he didn't catch you.
Oh, I'm not scared.
Welcome again, He-Man. It's good to see you, Granamir.
I guess I better introduce myself.
Orko.
Hi, Granamir. I'm Orko. I'm a wizard, just like you. Maybe we can do a few tricks together. Hey, what's the big idea, Lizard Breath? Hope I didn't say something wrong.
The sorceress said you wanted my help.
Yes, something very strange has occurred. Dragons seem to be disappearing from Dragon Mountain.
Alright, it's time for episode 81, Disappearing Dragons, written by Larry DiTilio, air date Tuesday, October 2nd, 1984. And the plot goes something like this. Granamir seeks He-Man and Orko's help in recovering his dragons, which have been captured by Cobra Khan and Webster. The bad guys in this would be Cobra Khan, Skeletor is mentioned, and then we have Webster. Masters, we have Prince Adam, obviously, in He-Man. We have Orko, the Sorceress, Mechanic, and Buzz-Off. The PSA, He-Man refers to the Dharma's intention to mistreat the dragons and advises the viewer to avoid mistreating animals. As far as Orko's fun facts, obviously we see Mechanic here, which according to this, and obviously it depends on which order you watch this stuff in, would be Mechanic's first Filmation appearance, and that that Mechanic does not appear again for another 37 episodes. This is third appearance from Larry DiTilio's Dark Smoke-based characters, Granamir, etc. First time that Orko and Granamir meet. And this obviously is a showcase for Mechanic and Cobra Khan, as well as Buzz-Off and Webster, kind of. So what did you think of the whole plot about the dragons that are disappearing, Granamir reaching out for help, the inclusion of Cobra Khan, Webster, Mechanic? What did you think of this one?
Finally, villains outside of Beastman and Trapjaw.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish Skeletor would have shown up to see how he would interact with Cobra Khan and Webster.
Mm-hmm.
But just seeing them, I think the one thing, and I'll be saying this at some point, well, I'll be saying it now, I'll also be saying it in episode 29 in a couple of weeks from now. There's one thing this series has not done very well. They have not used Triclops at all, hardly. That's one that I really wanted them to use a little bit more. But I love seeing Cobra Khan, love seeing Webster. I'll say it's interesting. This is not really a plot note. I don't think I have it in my Castle Grayskull moments, but I'll put it here. With the voice actors, we know it was a limited amount of voice people that was on this show, and one person would have at least 3 roles half the time. It's interesting how they changed the voices for, like, Webster is Prince Adam, Webster is John Irwin. His vocals are just changed a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I like how that's done. The plot was pretty decent. I like seeing Mechanic. I like seeing him go through and use his neck in all the right angles, I guess. I always love seeing Granamir. I wish there were, like, for every single one-off episode, that could have been more in Larry's Granamir saga. Like, replace, 10 different one-off episodes from Season 1 and just have them all be Granamir saga.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Dark Smoke episodes are definitely a highlight of the series.
Absolutely.
And they seem to be always pretty decent episodes. It's just nice that they involve a plot with this character that basically is more powerful than anybody we've come across in this world. More magical, more physically strong, just everything that Granamir embodies. Wiser. So you got the magic, the intelligence, the physical strength, just the presence. He basically is not outdone by anybody, including He-Man. So it's somebody that, I mean, if they would have ever done a switch or something where, I know they kind of did it when they first met each other, but if they were actually an all-out battle between Granamir and He-Man, it'd be interesting to see how they did that. But I appreciate the recurring characters, the Dark Smoke storyline, and that this time we're mixing it in with different evil warriors, different masters of the universe, even throwing Orko in there who wasn't involved before. So I like the plot for this one.
I do, and the thing with Granamir is, as far as characterization, he's the oldest living dragon on Eternia. Like, he knew about stuff before there was a He-Man, before there was, House of Randor. So, I mean, of course he's going to be the most, we can always say, and they can always tagline, He-Man is the most powerful man in the universe. Well, in most cases, yeah, but when you come up against a god knows how old dragon...
The most powerful man in the universe, not the most powerful dragon.
Right. But overall, I like this plot. I thought it was really well done.
All right, well, I have a feeling we have a few things to say at Castle Grayskull. Before we get there, did you have any moments about the PSA and the overlying message about mistreating animals?
I mean, some of these, it's a good message. I'm not going to say that. I mean, obviously, kids do not mistreat animals, But I don't know. It just, yes, it did go along with the episode, but some of these PSAs that they're trying to teach us, some of them just seem out of place for me. Even though this was in line with what happened in the episode.
I do like that they took the idea of mistreating animals and masked it around dragons, so it wasn't like, it didn't feel like they were forcing it on you. It's not like somebody was mistreating a puppy or mistreating a cat or something like that, where you would have been like, oh, this is just, too heavy-handed of a message. Like, it's mistreating animals, but it was disguised as dragons, so I think it would have worked a little bit better with kids, maybe, than if it was just a straight-up, hey, that person kicked a dog or something. I don't know. Or they're dog fighting. Michael Vick.
Oh, you had to go there, didn't you?
So I like it that it's disguised as dragons, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, let's get to those good things I mentioned before at Castle Grayskull.
Dragons disappear.
Let's go. Get ready to give it full power.
Not so fast, boys.
Your villains better surrender. My friend here has an itchy finger.
Well, my grappler will stop you.
Look out!
Try my electro sting on for size, web store.
Looking quite a shot, Buzz. Hey! A face full of sleep dust will put you out. Well, then I'll just have to move my face. You're a real pain in the neck, huh?
Need some help, pal?
You take care of Webster. I've got a little trick up my neck for a snake face.
It's time to discover what we have found at Castle Grayskull and to see if we can find the disappearing dragons. Highlights for you, sir.
I don't know. I shook my head at Orko because I honestly don't think he should have been allowed to go to see Granomir. At first, I didn't like when it first happened. I didn't think this because it's fucking Orko. He's going to say something stupid and flippant and everything else. And I guess technically, He-Man is the adult and Orko would be the child here. And I mean, Orko has good intentions, but we know how, I don't want to say temperamental, we know how old Granomir is, and old people are stuck in their ways, and this dragon wants respect. That's his number one thing. And Orko, while he tries so well, sometimes falls flat on his hat. Let's see. I do love seeing Mechanic and Buzz-Off. I thought that was really cool. The puns. So many puns in this episode. It was great to see Webstar and Cobra Khan as well. I don't know if Cobra Khan... I don't remember if the Snake Men play any more into the show. Like, other than just being Skeletor's henchmen.
And don't ruin it for us, those people that know. We're watching this one by one.
Yeah. I do know that they play a bigger role in the 2002 series, right. But I don't remember if they do here.
Pretty sure we're going to get a little more of them. I don't know how much, but...
Yeah. I'm surprised it took them 81 episodes to finally give us a PSA about being nice to animals. I'm really, like this was at a time when, animal cruelty was, like, all over the place. I mean, I remember as a kid seeing messages about being nice to animals everywhere. And it took them 81 episodes to get one in. It's a little crazy. What about you?
Granomir?
Mm-hmm.
That is a highlight. If we see Granomir, most likely that means we're in for a good episode, we're in for something good, at least a couple good moments, maybe a good scene, some good dialogue, some type of interaction between Granomir and another character. So Granomir showing up is 99.9% of the time a good thing. I always like it when shows put the title in the episode, and they definitely said Disappearing Dragons at one point. I don't know why I like that. Go ahead.
It always makes it easier for me to cut off the plot clip that people hear before we do our plot synopsis. No, seriously. It always makes it so much easier when they do say the episode title in the actual episode, because I can just stop the clip right there, bam, put it in, He-Man's your uncle, there you go, you're done.
Excellent. A couple of good lines in this one. I like where they say itchy stinger finger from, I believe, Buzz Off. I thought that was a clever little line instead of trigger finger, stinger finger. And also rhymes better. New characters. I'm all about Cobra Khan, Mechanic, etc. Obviously, I know they exist, but it was good to see them basically for the first time. I like Cobra Khan as a character. I like, how he has like the regular head and then like the I'm about to spray poison on you head. Or venom or whatever you want to call it. So I like that. At one point, they actually do yell out Khan. I thought,
yes.
I mean, I don't want to get the Star Trek Into the Darkness fans upset at me again and be crucified on Twitter. But yeah, it was fun when he was like, Khan! I was like, ah. And at one point, they called Mechanic Mecha. And all I could think of was Mecha Lecca High, Mecha Hiney Ho. All about the references here. I'm taking a page out of Mike's book.
Yeah.
Betting on the animal fights, I thought it was good to include that. Whether you like that or whether it ties into the PSA, I just thought it was a cool moment. Line from Granomir, it was not difficult for a real magic worker. That was cool. I like the interaction between Orko and Granomir. I agree that maybe he shouldn't be there, but I definitely liked seeing how they would interact with each other. So that was interesting. And man, I bet they go through a lot of doors with Bellatron. The big gladiator type guy, he like basically comes into the arena by busting down a door. Like, does he do that every time? Do they have to rebuild the door every time? And he looked a lot like a Horde member.
Yeah, the thing with Granomir and Orko, just to go back just for a second, I only had that hesitation when they said at the beginning that he was gonna go with them, but I was expecting Granomir to be more disciplinary, like when Man-at-Arms came with He-Man, because when Man-at-Arms came with He-Man, Granomir nearly fire-breathed his head off. I mean, seriously,
right.
And I mean, Man-at-Arms, was respectful and just, said that he wanted to say thanks, but it was a little weird with Orko. I don't know. It was strange.
I can see that. Anything else good that you want to say about this episode?
Nah, it's just always
with everything I said.
Nah, not usually.
It's always good when people do that.
No, not really.
All right, well, let's see what negative things we can say about Disappearing Dragons, if any.
But we had run out of interesting opponents for our games.
Then Cobra Khan came to us. He offered us these beasts you call dragons.
And what did he ask for in return?
In return, the army will give us the means to conquer Eternia.
And there's nothing you can do about it, He-Man.
You mean you're going to make the dragons fight each other? And bet on that?
Of course. It will be one of our best games ever.
You people are bats!
Dragons are living creatures. You can't harm them just for your own pleasure.
However, there is another possibility. If you wish to save these precious beasts of yours...
Name it.
We have too few of your dragons at this point, yet we long for a game. Would you agree to fight our champion, Bellatron? If you win, we shall release your beasts and yourselves.
I don't like it.
Neither do I. And I can't see any other way out.
We find ourselves in the depths of Snake Mountain to try to find something bad to say about Disappearing Dragons. What do you got, sir?
I only have 2, and really I'm only taking 1 point off my rating because of one of my 2 notes. It felt like your standard villain of the week. Sure, Webster and Khan were there, but besides that, stating that the Dharmi would help them conquer Eternia, their plot doesn't go beyond that, honestly. I mean, they really have nothing. Okay, sure, they both fight He-Man, but, I would have liked this a little bit better if their plot was actually involved Skeletor, and Skeletor was sending them on this mission. And I guess we can have some level of, suspension of disbelief that Skeletor sends them on every mission, but a lot of times when the bad guys show up by themselves, it seems like they're trying to take over Eternia or take over whatever the hell just by themselves without Skeletor's knowledge. So I wish that it didn't feel like a Villain of the Week episode, and that's really the only reason why I take a point off my score for it. The other one was, I wish they'd actually explain how Orko's magic screws up. Because at least we know, just from seeing Secret of the Sword, we know in She-Ra, Madame Raz, it's because she misspeaks the spells. But Orko said, make this ray disappear. It should have fucking disappeared. I get it. It did what it did to further the plot of the episode, but it's kind of lame when he did everything right.
Yeah, but his magic's not supposed to work on Eternia.
Doesn't matter. Okay, I can see if he's just sprinkling the dust and he doesn't say anything that it screws up, but if he's going to say a spell and he says it correctly, it should fucking work.
You've been watching too much She-Ra lately.
No, I haven't actually been watching any She-Ra. I just remember Madame Raz from Secret of the Sword.
Oh, okay. I, on the other hand, could not find anything bad to say about Disappearing Dragons. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. One of the better episodes we've gotten in Season 2. One of the better episodes probably overall, so I refuse to say anything negative about it. So let's go ahead and see what the highlights were as far as who is earning awards for the Disappearing Dragons.
What happened? Ride's over, boys. Time to pay up.
All right, it's time to hand out the hardware for Disappearing Dragons. I will go first. It's probably pretty obvious. Power Sword to the one and only Granomir.
Exactly. Just because he is who he is.
Any other hardware for you to give out?
Just to Granomir.
All right. And you said you had subtracted a point somewhere around the line, so I'm guessing you're not giving this a 5, so what would you be giving it?
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 Orcos.
Well, let me explain this a little bit. The thing I mentioned a moment ago about Orko's magic. Yes, you're right. They did say in the beginning of the series it works on Trala, but it doesn't work on Eternia. Yet there are going to be episodes coming up where Orko's magic actually works, because I've made note of it. That's why I'm saying I wish they would explain it further, besides just saying, oh, it's not supposed to work on Eternia, but it has worked recently coming up.
Recently coming up. That's an interesting thing. Maybe it's a product of writers not knowing that it's not supposed to work. I don't know.
Well, Larry's a staff writer. I mean, he's not one of these one-off writers.
No, I know. I'm just saying maybe some writers have allowed it to work because they don't know. I don't know which writers have done that, but I will give this one a 4.5 Battle Cats out of 5. It's not a perfect episode. It's not like my absolute end-all be-all favorite episode of the entire series, so I'm not going to quite give it a 5, but I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. All the different characters, Granomir included. It's like a double bonus. You get Granomir and you get, the web store, Mechanic, Khan, all that stuff. Wrapped up in a fairly decent story, decent action, etc. So 4.5 out of 5 for me.
All right.
All right. Well, we will take a quick break and we'll be back with episode 82.
This new dam borders the mighty Eternian Ocean, providing us with the rich farmland that we need to feed the kingdom. If there is one man whom we all need to thank for the hard work, skill, and vision that made this engineering miracle possible, I give you your friend and mine, Man-at-Arms. Speech, Duncan, speech.
Come on, Cringer. Let's go play in the water.
But I don't like water.
Well, there may be some fish.
Fish?
Wait a minute. We went the wrong direction.
Orko!
Whatever you do, don't move.
I can't. I'm frozen with fear.
Plenty of time to fool around later, Cringer. Let's hear the end of King Randor's speech.
All right, we have set the bar pretty high with Disappearing Dragons. We'll have to see if any of the other episodes today can live up to that standard. Starting with episode 82, The Island of Fear, written by Antony Zalewski, air date of Wednesday, October 3rd, 1984. Following the completion of a new dam, the heroes of Eternia must solve the mystery of disappearing ships and an unexplained island. The bad guys in this one would be Merman, Skeletor, and Whiplash, who I guess if you watch this in the wrong order, this would be his first appearance. But we know that not to be the case. Masters Buzzoff, who also, if you watch this in the wrong order, would be his first Filmation appearance, but we know that not to be the case. The first appearance is when he's sitting at the table with King Randor and everything, and you can tell by the writing that that's meant to be the first appearance. So you get King Randor, He-Man, Man-at-Arms, Orko, Teela, Buzzoff, etc. And then the PSA, during a jog across the meadow, Adam and Teela agree that it would be nice if the whole planet looked this nice, but that progress requires using some land for development, so it's important to maintain nature preserves. Orko's fun facts. Unfortunately, this is the only episode to feature the Great Eternian Dam. The mysterious floating island is actually the same as Dragosaur Isle from the Time Corridor. And then there is a shot of Adam and Man-at-Arms in an underwater cage where you can see that Prince Adam's pose is almost exactly the same as when he holds aloft the Sword of Power. As far as the plot of an island that's disappearing and ships and unexplained islands and things like that, what do you think about the plot of this one?
I think we've seen it before.
And where?
When the Eternian ships disappeared, we've seen that before. There was a whole thing in Season 1, one of the Season 1 episodes, where they went into some submarine to go find some other ships from some other kingdom.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing this type of plot before. I wish Merman was more present. Like, I'd rather have Merman be doing all this crap about the underwater stuff than fucking Whiplash. I'm so sick of Whiplash at this point.
Well, this is his first appearance.
Well, we've seen him before at this point.
I know, just kidding. Yeah, I agree. I was hoping for a little bit more Merman in this episode than what we got. I mean, I guess it's good that they actually involved him since it's underwater plot, but should have been more of the central character outside of Whiplash getting most of the time, like you said. Anything else about the plot? Did it have potential? Is it, even though we've seen it before, would it be all right if they executed it well? No.
There's so many bad things about this episode that I'll get to when we get to Snake Mountain. The PSA, that's the most different PSA we've ever seen. Neither one of them look at the camera, and they're running.
Yeah, they're switching it up, giving us something different.
I mean, yeah, it's nice, but I thought the whole point of the PSAs for this show was to take you out of the action, to kind of have like a calming moment, to have someone, doesn't matter who it is, it could be King Randor and Queen Marlena for all I care, to come into camera and give us a lesson while they're, basically just standing or sitting or whatever else, not running through a meadow.
Yeah, it's kind of a roundabout way to try to get us a message about forest preserves and the value of nature, I guess. I see what they were doing, and I know at this point they're probably getting desperate for ideas. So I'm not going to fault too much in it. And I kind of like the difference of them running around and stuff just because it switches it up a little for me. But like I said, I don't let the PSA bear too much weight on my episode enjoyment or lack thereof.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it was a little strange. Like, if they wanted to do something about the forest and preserving nature, they could have been having a damn picnic. At least they'd be stationary.
Damn picnic.
That's right.
Pun intended. All right, well, let's see what good things we can say. Hopefully Mike has a couple for Island of Fear.
Sure clears the cobwebs out of your mind.
Look out! That was close. That's the island Buzzoff saw. The engines have been damaged by the collision.
Going down!
to jump. Duncan, Cringer, are you all right? Oh, no. Duncan and Cringer are being sucked into the dam's water intake. By the power of Grayskull!
Good things about Island of Fear, and things that we would find at Castle Grayskull. One thing that we would find that I enjoy is Merman. Enjoy Merman. Give me more Merman. I actually like the basic plot here about the disappearing island. I like the setting of being underwater and being on the island and kind of taking us away from things. I didn't mind that aspect of it. And I liked Skeletor's dog sled at the end. That was a great moment where he's basically using Merman and Whiplash as a dog sled to get out of there, or a water dog sled. So they had some funny moments. Not a horrible episode in my book. But what about you? What good things did you say?
I have 3 things here. It always surprises me and gives me a chuckle when they themselves, Filmation, basically ruin their own stock animation. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I laugh every time. Hey, no full transformation. Like, there was that transformation was half. Mm-hmm. He put the sword up. He said the lines. We saw the transformation from Adam to He-Man, and then Bing Bam Boom. We're off to the next scene.
Bing Bam Boom. That sounds like something out of Hanna-Barbera.
Yep. Silly little bag of wind. This is the second time that Skeletor has called Orko a bag of wind. That stupid tail is in my way. Following your fishy smell will destroy my sense of smell. I love when the villains argue. If we could just have a whole episode of the villains just having it out, just like oh God, I so want this now. I know it'll never happen. Have all of the villains, every single villain we know of that's in He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, have them do Pandora's Box. And then arguments shall ensue.
Nice.
But that's pretty much it.
All right. So there was some good moments about this episode, and there's also probably some things that some people might not like, so let's get to those at Snake Mountain.
This one, gentlemen. That's a good one, Skeletor. I'm not joking, you fishy fools. Find our 2 guests a nice, damp dungeon. It is only right that the Prince of Eternia should see my final triumph.
I've heard that before.
But everybody has to eat, and this time I have captured all your food.
The new dam has created the land to grow more food than even you can capture.
Yes, the Great Eternian Dam. But when my little island crashes into your dam,
the ocean will flood half the kingdom.
All right, we find ourselves at Snake Mountain talking about the bad things of Island of Fear. I just have one. I'm very quickly tiring of Buzz-Off. Don't like his voice. Don't like him in general. Not needing to see too many more episodes with him. Bring me some new characters.
Mm-hmm. I mentioned this at the beginning, but didn't we already have a disappearing ship episode? We have. It was in season 1. I don't remember which one it was off the top of my head. And Tila, are you seriously complaining when Buzz-Off told them to wait there? She comes on the scene, and Adam is just standing around, but it's not his normal, when he's laying up against, a riverbank fishing and taking a nap. Buzz-Off told them to wait there. And she starts bitching at him. Oh my God. And the only reason why this episode gets the score that I'm going to give it, the only reason why is because Skeletor has been reduced to stealing food to try to conquer the kingdom. Boo! Skeletor is better than that.
How do you really feel? I'm just curious.
The only thing that stops this from getting what it was going to get originally is a few of Skeletor's lines. It's the only thing that stops it. But what about you for... you only had one, right?
Yeah, just Buzz Off. I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of the Buzz Man.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's see what kind of rankings we actually give this one. I'm actually not sure where you said the only thing that stops you from giving it something, so let's see what that was.
By the power of Grayskull!
All right, it's time to give out some hardware for this one. If you haven't guessed, I'm going to give a Havoc Staff to Buzzsaw.
Buzz Off.
Buzz Off, not Buzzsaw.
Buzzsaw is in Soundwave over on Cybertron.
Yes, and also I think on Silverhawks. Yes, Havoc Staff to the other guy, Buzz Off. What about you?
Yes. I'm going to give a Havoc Staff to this writer, because this is the first time that I've seen his name associated, that I remember seeing his name, or her name, or I don't know, Antonia, whatever, I don't know, whatever. I'm going to give a Havoc Staff to him, and specifically for not going back and actually looking to see if the general plot was done before. So yeah.
I feel like I'm going to give this one a slightly better rating than you. I didn't mind. I didn't mind the plot and the setting. I like seeing Merman.
I don't mind the setting. I just mind the plot reusage.
I like Skeletor a lot in this, even though I didn't give him a power sword. I ended up giving this one a 3.5 out of 5. Not awful, not great, just slightly above average. What about you?
The entire episode, there's only two things that save this from being a 0. And that's the inclusion of Merman and his witty banter between him and Whiplash, and Skeletor's lines about Orko. This gets a 1 out of 5 Orcos.
Pretty harsh on Island of Fear. Don't think it's as bad as you thought it was. We'll see. So we've had a really good episode, to me a mediocre episode, or to you an awful episode. See how we end here as we get to episode 83, Revenge is Never Sweet, coming up next.
Say he's a magician.
Yeah, me. But who are you?
Permit me to introduce myself. I am Kathos, and I, too, was a magician, until Evil Lynn's wicked spell changed me into this. But if you're a magician, maybe you can help change me back.
Orko, what's going on?
Well, I finally found someone who really appreciates good magic.
At last, I'm free.
Tila, look, isn't that the evil wizard Kathos with Orko?
You're right. Let's go.
Thank you, Orko. Your magic is excellent. But I wonder if mine still works.
Only one way to find out.
Orko, look out!
A most excellent suggestion, little one. Well, it looks like I do still have the touch. A pity that miserable witch Evil Lynn isn't here so I could deal with her as well. You know, that's not a bad idea.
All right, it's time for episode 83, Revenge is Never Sweet, written by Doug Booth. Air date, Thursday, October 4th, 1984. Only He-Man can help Evil Lynn when Kothos seeks revenge against her. And then only He-Man can help Kothos when Evil Lynn wants revenge as well. Bad guys, we got Beastman making a reappearance, Evil Lynn, and Skeletor. Masters are normal ones. And the PSA, all about revenge and how it never ends, and you get back at him, and then they get back at you, and then you get back at him, and then they get back at you, and no one ever wins. What did you think about the plot on this one, sir?
It's better than the last one.
It's all about revenge.
But not by much.
It's all about revenge. You're a man that doesn't leave anything to mystery.
I don't know. I get what they were going for here with this plot, and obviously, getting revenge is never a good thing to do. But it just... I want more out of my He-Man episodes at this point. I don't want your standard plots anymore.
No standard plots. I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily a 100% standard plot. I enjoy the whole revenge standpoint. I enjoy that Kothos is basically making a reappearance. so to speak. So you got some recurring character in that situation. I've seen worse plots. I'm not completely upset about this one.
Well, this isn't as bad as the last episode for me, but it's not. This isn't the best episode of the entire series either.
Yeah. There is a couple of Orko's fun facts that I didn't mention before. This episode opens up with a confusing scenario where Orko transforms Kothos back into a human, even though he fought the villain back in The Witch and the Warrior. So he should have known who that was. In his reappearance, Kothos' entire costume and skin color have changed. And this episode is one of 3 connected episodes. It's a sequel to The Witch and the Warrior, which first saw Kothos and Evil in battle, which itself was a sequel to the Wizard of Stone Mountain. So they're all somewhat connected together. So some interesting connectivity, I guess, within this. Anything else about the plot there? Clickety click click.
No.
Okay, well then let's get to Castle Grayskull for Revenge is Never Sweet.
Is it over yet?
Sure is, old cat.
Kathos, I don't know what you're up to.
But you better cut it out, or I'll turn you back into a sand slug.
Admirable courage, little one. But I don't think you'll have the chance. And now, for my prize catch.
What's happening? I'm getting weak.
And I'm about to get my revenge on Evil Lynn. I knew you were too strong for my freeze magic, but this helmet will keep you weak as a baby.
All right, it's time for the highlights of Revenge is Never Sweet. I like the whole idea where we have Adam captured or within a group, and the idea that He-Man will come save him angle. I'm not tired of that yet. I like when we have to figure out...
They don't do it enough.
Yeah, I like when we have to figure out how is Adam going to get away, or how is Adam going to get to a point where he can become He-Man to come save them, because he's already captured type thing. I like the water ride in this one. I always like water rides. He-Man and Cringer. Always interesting to see that dynamic, where it's He-Man and Cringer and not He-Man and Battle Cat. So we had that here. I love Skeletor's underhanded loyalty. Where he's acting like he's going to be loyal to Evil Lynn, etc. Beastman still exists.
Why?
Did not realize he was still in this cartoon. I thought he had faded off into the... I thought Skeletor had done away with him, but he comes back in this episode for the first of a couple different appearances that we're about to be berated with. I thought the Roton is a pretty cool looking vehicle. So that was cool. So some good things about this episode. What about you?
I do enjoy the barbs between Kothos and Skeletor. I thought that was kind of cool. The fact that Evelyn once again has to rely on the Masters more so than Skeletor. That's kind of sad. If you really think about it, I like it, but it's kind of also sad because she has to rely on her sworn enemies more than her own quote-unquote friend. That's a little strange, but I do like that. 2 episodes in a row that Orko's magic actually works.
True that.
Explain it, damn it.
No need for that.
Yes. Like you said, Skeletor has a lot of cool lines. I do like Kothos' voice. I'm pretty sure outside of Kothos that I've heard that before in a different character. I just can't remember which one it was off the top of my head. But other than that, overall, it was pretty good. There are some glaring things that will come up.
All right, well, let's see what those are as we venture over to Snake Mountain.
You know my price. I will give him to you in exchange for Evil Lynn.
Quiet, you fool! Before I turn you back into the slug you are!
Forgive Evil Lynn's bad manners, Kathos. You have done well. We'll be there to make the exchange.
What are you talking about?
Calm down, Evil Lynn. We must play along with his little game if we are to get He-Man.
Of course. You're right.
As always.
But Skeletor, what is this?
It's all part of the game, Evil Lynn. All part of the game. me.
All right, lowlights, Snake Mountain moments. Revenge is never sweet. Adam's just fine. I like when they say that. What are you talking about? Is he just off floating somewhere? I guess. Like, they're just like, oh, Adam's fine. Like, how would that happen? Is he just randomly floating in the water? So I don't know. I gotta say, He-Man, not necessarily his greatest episode. How did he not see that helmet thing coming at him? Like, I feel like he could have avoided that, tried to do something to stop that helmet kind of going up on him. They're trapped at one point in a pit with walls surrounding them. Did Orko not know that he could fly up the whole time?
There's so many examples of this that I could list off, not off the top of my head, but if I went back and look, there's so many times where Orko doesn't realize he can fly.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like they finally get like something to get themselves out, and then Orko just flies up. Like, no, you could have done that the whole time, man. The line, they put a line in here, maybe revenge isn't a good idea after all. It was such a forced line, and it was put in there so artificially that it didn't even flow with the characters or what was happening, so I didn't like that. There's some bad lines in here. There's definitely a lot more bad He-Man moments that I didn't write them all down, but he is very slow and very dumb in this episode. And if you watch this, you will see multiple times where he could have avoided things or where he didn't do what he should have done to, put himself in better situations. What about you?
I actually had to watch this episode twice. The first time I watched it and grabbed the audio along while I was watching and taking my notes, I was bored to tears.
Bored to tears?
Bored to tears, because I get what they're going for with the message, but like you said earlier, the line about it a little bit was too forced, and I honestly think this entire episode was basically forcing the lesson down our throat, because that's all they're concerned about. And then, magically at the end, it's like the guy learns his lesson so fast. He's like, okay, I'm going to create a rain cloud, and people can have flowers all over Eternia. Yay, I've turned myself into a flower boy from the 1970s. So I had to watch this through twice because I had to see if the first time while I was doing all the work and getting all the clips and whatever else that you find listeners here in this episode, I was also taking notes. So I wanted to watch it just to watch it and see if it enticed me or anything, and it really, really didn't at all. Kind of bored me to death.
I'm sorry.
And the other Snake Mountain thing that I had, when Evelyn is first trapped by that cage, she uses her magic, and then later she says, because of this cage, I can't use my magic. Horrible writing. Horrible, horrible writing, Doug Booth.
Oh, I can't imagine that.
Not that he does any good writing, but still.
All right, it's time to see what kind of awards we give and if any of them are positive.
But of those who serve me,
You're selling me out to this slug?
Flattery will get you nowhere, my dear. Now, come along.
to capture He-Man, I'd sell out anyone.
All right, it's awards and rankings time for episode 83, Revenge is Never Sweet. As you can probably tell from my earlier comments, Havoc staff for He-Man on this one for being slow and dumb in this episode. What about you?
I'm going to give a Havoc staff to Evelyn because she just, like, even though in my Snake Mountain moments I said that Kothos or Pathos or Kronos or whatever the hell his name is, Batros, whatever the fuck, even though I said he learns his lesson a little bit too fast, at least he learned something. But at the same time, I understand that Evelyn is, well, evil. But she, every now, like, when we did Witch and the Warrior, she learned a couple of lessons from Tila. I wish this whole revenge thing would have done a little bit more to further her character. So Havoc staff to her. And it's obvious, I shouldn't have to say this, Havoc staff to Doug Booth. Horrible, horrible writing.
All right. Ranking-wise, I'm going to give this one a little better than you, so I'll go first. I have decreased over today's episode. Started at a 4.5, went down to a 3.5. Going to go down to a 2.5 on this one. Only reason I give it that high of a rating is because I do like the revenge angle. I like the recurring character with Kotos coming back, and that he and Evil Lyn kind of have a history, and they're kind of going back and forth. And like I said, I like the idea of revenge and learning, maybe showing us a lesson about that. So I think the episode had a lot of potential. There was just a lot of failure in execution, so I'm going to give this one a 2.5. What about you?
Straight 2.
Straight 2, not a crooked 2. All right, well, that does it for today's episode, so we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back.
Grab your helmets, because it's time to assemble Mask. Mask Mayhem is here with your hosts, TFG1Mike, OptimusSolo, and brand new host, Toon Master Tim. This podcast, covering all 75 episodes of Mask, will feature in-depth analysis of every episode, talking the toys, and more. Mask Mayhem will run 30 podcast episodes. You can find us on iTunes and www.geekcastradio.com. So get your spectrums ready, as podcasting is the ultimate weapon.
Yes. Shut up.
Beyond the Night is the GCRN's latest review podcast. We are covering everything in the Knight Rider television universe, from the classic 80s TV series to the 1991 reunion film, Team Knight Rider, and the 2008 relaunch series as well. So join TFG1Mike and Dion the Music Man as they go in-depth and Beyond the Night only on Geekcast Radio Network. You can find Beyond the Night in iTunes and on www.geekcastradio.com.
Kid. Yes, Michael. Just keep driving.
All right, sir, we got some of the stuff that we've been wanting. We got a few new characters today. Seeing, obviously, Mechaneck, Cobra Khan, some more Buzz Off. We got some more. We got some Webster. So we did get a variety of new characters. We got some of our. We always talk about continuity. We got 2 different episodes that had connections to other episodes, with our Dark Smoke characters in Granomir, with Kothos, all being recurring characters. So we got a little of that, which is something we don't usually get from this series. What are your thoughts and opinions on what we saw today and kind of where we're at in season 2?
They need to make the plots a little bit more interesting for my liking, and for the listener's sake, when I say that it feels like I've seen this all before, is because I'm looking at this cartoon as a 34-year-old adult. I've had 27, 28 years of watching other cartoons, television media, and the whole Revenge is Never Sweet storyline is like, I've seen that so many times since this episode originally aired when I was a kid. So overall, I do love that Granomir was here. I do love the fact that he returned and the dragons returned again. I honestly didn't remember Kothos, so I didn't remember that Evil Lyn had turned him into a sea slug. I like him as a character overall. That middle episode, that really needed some help. Really, really did.
I think the last episode was the worst.
No.
What about just the characters? Are you happy that we got some new characters?
Yeah, I'm happy we got Cobra Khan, Webster, Buzz Off, and Mechaneck. I wish that whenever it was 20... When was Stratos? I wish it was Mechaneck and Stratos more than Mechaneck and Buzz Off, honestly. Like, I wish we hadn't already had Stratos' last Filmation appearance.
Yeah, I could have dealt with him every time over Buzz Off.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I too, I'm happy we got some continuity, happy we got some new characters, not completely upset, even though the second 2 episodes weren't quite as good as that first one. But I'm still hopeful for season 2. I still think there might be some good things coming, so I will keep watching, and I'm not pulling a mask yet.
Yeah, that would be, still, I ranked the middle episode a 1. I think in the more recent reviews of Mask, I've given at least 4 or 5 of them 0s. Maybe, I don't remember, but it's like, there's no way in hell that that middle episode today is any worse than what I've seen in Mask. It is bad for He-Man, but compared to Mask, it's like smelling roses. Thank you for listening to Tales of Eternia. If you'd like to get in contact with us, leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do this. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on this and all of our other posts. Send email to feedback@geekcastradio.com, and the subject line put Tales of Eternia Episode 28 feedback. I had to think of the episode number there for a minute. Leave us feedback in iTunes. Please do this. We need more iTunes feedback, people. Follow us on Twitter. The network there is at Geekcaster Radio. Mine is TFG1Mike. What is your Twitter?
OptimusSolo.
Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Geekcaster Radio Network. Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving the message for and your name, 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed the tales today, and don't forget to join us on our next adventure when we will continue Season 2, discussing episodes 84, 85, and 86, those being The Littlest Giant, Attack from Below, and Into the Abyss. For now, I am TFG1Mike with...
the one and only OptimusSolo.
By the power of Grayskull, you all have the power.